Hey guys, so today we're going to be breaking down the new Ultra Omega Shenron alongside the upcoming new sparkings on the Legends All-Star banner, Red Piccolo and Yellow Super Saiyan Goku from the Cooler's Revenge movie. So right now, these characters are not released yet, at least Piccolo and Goku are not released yet. I'm not 100% sure when the banner should be coming out. I assume it's probably coming out either Friday or Saturday. I think Friday night is probably when we're looking at this Piccolo and Goku coming out, but we don't know for sure right now just because the data is not available on DBZ Space yet as of right now, which is why I'm doing this breakdown video in-game. So this is actually my first time taking a look at all three of these characters, so let's explore this together. The one thing I want to just mention real quick about Omega Shenron is they really did this in a very stupid way. They released this Ultra character with a set of missions, and that set of missions is what you need to complete in order to get him, to get the base character, right? One of the missions to get this base character is to play the Tournament of Power 3 times. Now, once the Tournament of Power resets, you only have 2 energy. So in order to play the Tournament of Power 3 times, you have to wait 12 hours after the reset happens. That's why nobody has a showcase of this character right now, because you cannot get him yet. I don't think that was intentional on their part. I think that was probably just an oversight. But the fact that you start with 2 TP in the Tournament of Power and you need 3, you need to do 3 fights in the Tournament of Power to get this character, it just shows how, I don't want to say disconnected, but they didn't, properly think this through when they released this character. So it is what it is. We're stuck here waiting for another 7 hours or whatever from me recording this video until this guy releases. But let's go ahead and take a look at what he's able to do here. I'm just going to bump him up to 14 stars because at the end of the day, this is going to be a character that you can freely obtain and get to 14 stars without spending any money at all. So this is Omega Shenron. He's red, which is actually a color that I'm not too upset at because GT as a tag definitely needed a red character. I mean, taking a look at the tags here, I'm not going to be able to show you on my screen here, but GT, their best red units are just the old Omega Shenron, which at this point is about a year and a half old. And we have the Zenkai Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. Obviously, I would consider him probably the best red unit on this team. And then we have the Zenkai Red base form Goku. So it's not like they're lacking any red units, but the selection of red units on the GT team is not that great, I don't think. Now, the other team I think this guy's going to be probably set to be good on is Powerful Opponent. I am going to tell you right now, I do not see at all a spot for this guy in Powerful Opponent, no matter how good he ends up being. We already have Bojack, we already have LF Grade 8 Vegeta, we already have LF Merge Zamasu. Those 3 titans on that Powerful Opponent team, I can't really see them being replaced by a free-to-play Ultra character, but maybe I'm going to be surprised. Let's see here in a second once we go through this kit. So stats of 14 stars, clearly more heavily based around the defenses, right? 170k to strike, 171k to blast. The offenses are clearly not at the highest level we've seen. They're actually quite low, so that's just how this is going to be. Again, defensive units. This happens every single time we get a new defense or a support type unit. For some reason, they feel the need to lower their stats significantly just because of the fact that they are a defense or support unit. It doesn't make sense to me, but that's just the way they do it. So he's on the Shadow Dragon Saga team. He holds a blast and a strike. They both inflict enemy with attribute downgrade, increases damage received for both of them for 15 counts, which is pretty solid. He has a lot of teams, right? Shadow Dragon, GT, Regen, Fusion Warrior, and Powerful Opponent. Again, I think his 2 main teams are going to be GT and Powerful Opponent, but he is on the Regen team and he is on the Fusion Warrior team, so we'll see how they do that. Let's start with his main ability here. So the main ability is Behold One Body with the power of 7. He draws the Ultimate Arts card Arcane of the Shadow Dragons next, restores his own ki by 40. He gets 20% of damage inflicted by allies for 30 timer counts, and then he cancels enemies' attribute upgrades and buff effects. So actually that's... this is a really, really powerful main ability. Canceling attribute upgrades and buff effects, that's like the purple super Vegito effect. The characters that come to mind that have this, Super Vegito, Purple UI Goku, and I think Blue Kid Buu also has this. I can't remember if it's both buff effects and attribute upgrades or if it's one or the other, but that's a pretty powerful effect on that. And then on top of that, he's also buffing allies as well. This is a really, really nice main ability for this character for sure. So the Ultra ability, they've actually mentioned that this Ultra ability is... let me put this back on. This Ultra ability is the first one that's going to be buffing allies as well. So let's go ahead and take a look here. So it looks like he is supposed to be on the GT team because it's for GT. He gives 5% to damage inflicted by allies per tag GT battle member when battle starts. So obviously it goes up to 15% if you have a full GT team. So he's just giving 15% damage to all allies. That's pretty good, including himself, right? So he also gets an additional 10% to own damage inflicted per tag GT support member, so that's your bench. So if you have a full GT team, a team of 6 GT characters, you're going to be getting up to 45% increased damage inflicted by this character himself, and 15% to damage inflicted by your 2 other characters on your team that you're using in the fight. So that's pretty good. I do like this Ultra ability probably a little bit better than the Goku and Vegeta, just because of the fact that it's buffing your allies too. And imagine Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, who just got his ridiculously overpowered unique equipment, is now getting an extra 15% damage from this. That's going to be pretty significant, I would say. So that's pretty good for this character. And then Z ability looks like it's buffing 28% to GT or powerful opponent strike, attack, and defense. So that's pretty solid. Nothing crazy, but you know, it's not bad. Alright, so first unique ability is the Harbinger of Demise. Applies the following effects to self when this character enters the battlefield. He gets 50% of damage inflicted, cannot be stacked. 30% reduces damage received, okay. Then he heals gradually every timer count for 30 counts. Applies the following effects to self if own remaining health is 50% or below after enemy attack is over, activates once. He heals for 30%, 15% of damage inflicted, and he gets card draw speed by 1 level for 50 counts. That is the LF Full Power Frieza Green Bojack movie Trunks effect, where once you fall below a certain health threshold, you're going to get a bunch of buffs. So it's very similar to how those work. 30% healing is a lot. 15% damage is like, it's solid, but it's not crazy. Remember, he's getting 50% and then 15, so that's 65. Don't forget about this 45 from here, right? I mean, he's getting extra 40. So that's basically 110% damage if you're adding all this up together. And he has card draw speed, but for whatever reason, they decided to make that only last 50 counts. They honestly should have just been permanent. And it's it can be canceled, right, based off of what the wording is here. So, you know, take that with a grain of salt, I guess. Second unique ability is Whole New Level of Power. Sounds like Ice Shenron. It reduces damage received by 40% until combo ends when changing cover. So if you're changing cover with this character, he's taking 70% less damage because of this up here. That's pretty solid. Applies the following effects to self every time when hit with an enemy's strike, blast, or special move arts card while this character is on the battlefield. Activates 4 times. So he gets 10% to damage, 10% to key recovery, and -1 to arts cost. That's interesting. Okay, and then he applies the following effects to enemy when this character lands a strike or blast arts hit. He inflicts attribute downgrade plus 10% to damage received for 15 timer counts, and -20% to health restoration for 15 timer counts. So that's kind of like Ultra Vegeta's ability, but Ultra Vegeta's ability, I would argue, is better. Well, actually, it's definitely better because of 2 things. Number 1, his effect, his debuff activates on use instead of on hit. So even if his attacks don't hit the enemy and like they dodge the attack or whatever, the debuffs are still going to apply. And then number 2, his debuffs apply to the entire team. Whereas this Shenron's debuffs looks like they only apply to the enemy, right? So, I mean, in terms of the debuffing, Ultra Vegeta, I would say, definitely has the edge, but it's a nice additional effect that this character's getting. I mean, more damage, right? I mean, as long as he has this portion of this unique ability maxed out, I mean, you're looking at an extra 40% damage on top of the damage he's getting here. So that's 40, this is 15, that's 55. 50, that's 105. 40, so he's going to be getting a total of 150% damage with everything, all inclusive from all of his abilities here, if you have everything activated. That's pretty good. And it looks like he's going to be fairly tanky and stuff like that too. So far it's looking pretty good for this character. Normal Strike and Blast. The blue card is the Dark Destruction Bullet. He deals massive explode damage. A portion of the damage... Oh, he's actually going to do AoE damage. Okay. Interesting. I actually was not anticipating that at all. So that's kind of like, you know, purple Demon King Piccolo's transform blue card. That's yellow Full Power Frieza. The LF Full Power Frieza's blue card. That's a very powerful ability that not a lot of characters have on their blue card. Like LF Rose has that as well. Okay. And then the green card is the Dark Storm Spitting Bullet. By the way, these are both sort of lunging. I think they're lunging forward attacks. No, they're not. No, sorry, they're both projectiles. So that's actually better. Applies the following effects to enemy on hit. He reduces ki by 30, randomly destroys 2 cards, and he guaranteed inflicts paralysis. That's very annoying. That kind of reminds me of the red Broly movie Frieza's green card, which is actually still really annoying to this day. And then the ultimate is the Arcane of the Shadow Dragons. Deals massive impact damage, 50% ultimate damage inflicted for 3 counts upon activation, and then of course they have to tack on the 30% chance to inflict faint on hit, which is going to make a lot of people quit the game. So there we go. I would say that overall this Omega Shenron actually does look pretty solid. In terms of how he's going to stack up against the other Ultra characters, both Goku and Vegeta, it's hard to tell right now. I think it's all going to depend on how well he's able to tank, because that's the one thing that those other Ultra characters can't do at all. But it looks like this guy's like sort of geared towards doing that. So we'll definitely be testing him out on the GT team once we gain access to him. This stupid requirement to do the Tournament of Power is up, but there's Omega. Let's move on to the next character, which is going to be Piccolo from the Cooler's Revenge movie. So this is Piccolo when he fought Thouser and the other Armored Squadron characters. Let's go ahead and bump him up to 14 stars. So he's a melee character. That's actually really high strike attack for a character that's just a normal banner sparking. Like, he's not an LF or anything like that. It's a high number. And then his defenses are pretty solid as well. Just his blast is very, very low. I assume this is going to be a character that's just hyper-focused on strike attack. So he's on movies, holds 2 strike cards. He's on Super Warriors, Merging, Regen, and Namekian. So, I mean, his only real team is going to be movies as well as Regen, which is not bad. Main ability is I've Seen You Fight. He draws the Ultimate Arts card Demon Whip Attack next. He restores his own health by 15% and ki by 50, and he gets his Vanish meter back. That's always a very useful ability, so that's good to see. His Z ability is going to buff movies or Regen. Base strike, attack, and defense by 35%, and 18% to characters that are both episode from sagas from the movies and Regen blast attack. So that's like, characters that come to mind: Piccolo, Janemba, the 2 big ones. Definitely forgetting a bunch of other ones right now, but those Janemba and Piccolo are the 2 big ones that come to mind. Trying to think what else. Lord Slug, if we ever get like a better version of Slug. Garlic Jr. would probably be on the regeneration tag, as well as movies, right? I'm probably forgetting someone else too, but those are the 2 that come to mind right now. Fighting Outnumbered is the first unique ability. Applies the following effects to self when this character enters the battlefield. He draws a strike card next. That's actually a very powerful ability. Restores ki by 30. 50% of damage inflicted. Reduces damage received by 20%. Again, I'm not really a huge fan of 20% reduced damage because it doesn't really cut it these days. Also applies the following effects to self according to the number of remaining enemy battle members. So if you're fighting 3 enemies, like this is the beginning of the fight, you're getting an extra 60% of damage inflicted, and the effect just resets after character switch. So it goes 60, 50, 30. So if you're fighting 3 enemy battle members, like the beginning of a fight, he's doing 110% damage from just this first unique ability. Plus he's getting ki back, plus he's drawing a strike card. This is a really good unique ability. Like, I'm actually pretty impressed by that. Okay, that seems pretty good to me. And then the second unique ability is, how long is this? The Warrior of Hope. Okay, so the following effects occur when enemy switches characters while this character is on the battlefield. He restores ally health by 5%, activates 5 times, wow, that's actually a lot, shortens ally subcount by 1, inflicts all enemies with 2 subcounts. That's kind of reminiscent of LF Kid Buu a little bit, because whenever an enemy switches while LF Kid Buu is on the battlefield, they increase the subcount of the whole team actually by a little bit. But this is doing a lot, right? He's healing, reducing ally subcount, and increasing enemy subcount. So that's a lot. Applies the following effects to self from battle start for 80 counts. He gets card draw speed. Reduces damage. Oh, okay, now that makes sense. He reduces the damage received by an additional 20%. Okay, I was going to say 20%, I'm not that big of a fan, but 40% now is good. And then he gets minus 20% to enemy sustained damage cut effects for 80 counts. That's pretty good. While this character's on the battlefield, applies the following effects to self when causing a... Oh my god, he has an anti-revival mechanic. Revives when health reaches 0 to revive. 20% of damage. Destroys all of your enemy's cards. and they get -1 to card draw speed for 15 counts. That's kind of like Cells, actually, a little bit. It's obviously much worse than Cells. But it's similar in the way that you can just approach them after you pop their revival, and they really can't do anything. But with this one, you're not destroying their Dragon Ball, so they could just rush you, right? If you do that. So you got to be a bit more careful with this one as opposed to Cells, but it's kind of similar in the way that it's triggering, right? Okay, so he restores 5 ki from a striker. That's pretty good. That's interesting. Blast is normal. The blue card is the Demon Thunder Strike. Deals massive impact damage, 15% to special move damage inflicted for 10 counts upon activation, and inflicts all enemies with 3 sub-counts on hit. That can be pretty good, because what you can do with this... is you can use this blue card on somebody, immediately follow up with a blast, and if they dodge the blast, you can just rush them, because they can't switch. So that's a pretty good way to use this blue card, I think. Green card, as a long green card, is the Demon Pursuit attack. The following effects occur upon activation. 20% of strike damage inflicted for 20 timer counts. Cancels enemy attribute upgrades. Activates twice. Inflicts enemy with attribute downgrade plus 25% to damage received for 15 counts. Restores own ki by 40, and it's a comboable card with all those cards there. The one thing it's missing is Blast Armor, which I would have hoped it would have had, but I guess it doesn't have that. Still doing a lot, though. 40 ki is pretty big in terms of a card that's comboable from there. And then the ultimate is the Demon Whip attack. Deals massive impact damage. The following effects occur upon activation. You get 50% ultimate damage. Seals enemies' blast arts. The sealed arts cannot be used for 5 counts. So this does not have blast armor. Okay. So if you use this from mid-range, or sorry, if you main ability from mid-range, and you have an exclamation point over your head, it's not going to be smart just to press this wildly, right? Overall, this guy seems pretty interesting. I think the most interesting effect that he's doing, at least in my opinion, is this one, where the enemy switches and you're increasing their sub count, you're healing, and you're decreasing your ally sub count. That's doing a lot. So we'll see how effective that actually is. But let's move on to the final character, which is the Super Saiyan Goku from the Cooler movie. Number 1, this art is really cool. Number 2, this iteration of Goku from the Cooler's Revenge movie, Super Saiyan Goku, this is like a criminally underrepresented character across like every Dragon Ball game. The only Dragon Ball game I know that has actually like had this guy in the game was Buchigiri Match, when that game still existed. I don't even know if Heroes has like a proper card of this Goku, but I'm really glad to see this guy finally make his way to another game here in Legends. So he is a yellow defense type. Interesting. Okay. You know me, when it comes to Super Saiyan characters, I'm always extremely hesitant because of the fact that Bardock exists. In my opinion, they've typically made Super Saiyan characters recently not that impressive. So I'm just hoping this guy is not following that trend here. Defenses are very good. Offenses are, I mean, again, he's a defense type. So like I was mentioning earlier with Omega, it's not that out of this world to expect stats to look like this. At least offensive stats look like this when you're a defense type. So it's just, that's the way it is. He holds 2 strikes. One of them has 20% of strike damage inflicted for 2 counts. He's on the Saiyan, Sun Family, Super Saiyan team, and obviously, of course, the movies team as well. So he's on a bunch of teams to use. Main ability is Alright Then, we'll play by your rules. Draws the ultimate arts card Earth Guardian Blast next. I like that name. He restores ki by 40. He heals the team by 10%. Okay. And then restores own health by an additional 15%. So he's healing himself by 25%. Oh, it's per defeated battle member. Okay, so... So he could be healing... So if he's the last man standing, he's healing himself by 45%. That's pretty good. And then he reduces enemy ki by 50. Okay, interesting. That's definitely a good main ability for sure. Z ability is 35% to episode sagas from the movies or Saiyan's base strike attack and blast defense. And then he gives 18% to strike defense to sagas from the movies and Saiyans. It's very easy to activate. You know, every single Goku, every single Broly. Those are the 2 big ones, right? Goku and Broly. There's Vegetas from movies as well. Turles, Gogeta, all the Gogetas. So this is a very, very good Z ability here. All right, first unique ability is the Ultimate Awakened Power. 25% damage inflicted against tag Lineage of Evil. Thank God! Lineage of Evil was so oppressive. I'm so glad they finally made a counter to that really overpowered team. The following effects occur when this character enters the battlefield. It restores ally health by 5%, activates 5 times, just for switching in. That's pretty good. 80% to damage inflicted. That's a lot. Reduces damage received by 30%, cannot be stacked. Applies the following effects to self every time another battle member is hit with an enemy's Strike Blast, Special Move, Ultimate, or Awakened Arts attack. So basically every time they're hit by anything. That's not a tap attack, right? 10% damage inflicted up to 40% cannot be cancelled. 10% of special move damage for 30 counts. And then increases Arts card draw speed by 1 level for 15 counts. What? Okay, so the one thing to understand about this is that this is going to stack all of these. So let's just assume you're, I don't know, you're using this guy in a Super Saiyan team with Green Zenkai Broly, right? Let's just assume that's the team you're using. If you switch Green Zenkai Broly in and he's taking 3 cards of blast cards, right? Your enemy is comboing Green Broly with 3 blast cards. You're going to be getting 30% damage inflicted. You're going to be getting 30% of special move damage inflicted for 30 counts. And you're going to be getting Arts card draw speed level 3. Now, granted, that level 3 is not going to last super long because it's only 15 counts from the first one, but that seems pretty good to me. This ability seems pretty good. So, yeah, we'll see how well that actually works out in practice. Defender of Earth is the second unique ability here, so he gets 15% of damage inflicted by allies other than this character when battle starts. So he's also supporting. It kind of reminds me of Majub's ability a little bit. The following effects occur when changing cover. Reduces damage received by 30% when combo ends, so that's 30% on top of the already existing 30%, so that's 60% damage reduction when changing cover. Nullifies own abnormal conditions for 10 counts, reduces enemy ki by 30. Then he also has a cover change, it looks like, against Strike Arts. And it looks like you can combo that with his blue cards. That's interesting. I hope the animation for that cover change is when Cooler just punches Goku in the stomach and he like literally doesn't even flinch. I mean, this first... Because think about this, right? You're getting up to 40% from this and 80% from this, so it's 120% damage. Then you're getting card draw speed, as well as extra special move damage. He seems pretty good. I don't know if this character's going to come in and like annihilate everything, but I would go as far as to say that they did not gimp this character because he's a Super Saiyan. I don't think they did. Normal Strike and Blast here. The blue card is the Super Kamehameha. Deals massive impact damage, shortens allies subcount by 2 upon activation. That's actually really good. That's a really good blue card for sure. The green card is I'm a Saiyan raised on Earth. Applies the following effects to self upon activation. Looks like this is... Oh my god, it's a... No, it's one of these. Are you kidding me? It's a AoE green card. Of course. Restores ki by 40, -5 to arts cost for 10 timer counts. Okay. Inflicts enemy that should be downgrade plus 30% of strike damage received for 15 timer counts. So off the bat, I would automatically say this is probably not as good as like Majub's green card, just because the ability to ignore special cover changes off of these green cards is too good. Like Grade 8 LF Vegeta also has that ability. This doesn't have that, but still, like an AoE green card is still really good to have, right? It's for priority, so that's really good. And then the ultimate is the Earth Guardian Blast, deals massive impact damage, 40% ultimate damage inflicted for 3 timer counts upon activation, and then an additional 30% ultimate damage inflicted per defeated battle member, and it has blast armor. This is going to do a lot. This is going to do a lot of damage, but this guy definitely sounds like he's going to be more of a, I guess, last man standing style character, just because of the fact that he's going to heal more when there's less characters around. And this ultimate's gonna hit like a freight train, right? If this is the last man standing, this Goku, this is doing 100% extra damage, right? So that's gonna be all the incoming new characters for Legends. Again, Omega Shenron, I'll have that showcase up at some point today. But then for Piccolo and Goku, again, we don't know the exact date the banner's coming out, but I would wager Friday night. So we will see for sure soon. Let me know down below what you guys think about these new characters. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one.